Miami is having its moment, perhaps more than any other sports city in the world. Beyond the anchoring presence of the Dolphins, Heat, Marlins, and Panthers, Miami has made head-turning moves in the last several years. The Miami Open has become one of the premier events in pro tennis. Miami will host the World Baseball Classic in 2026, followed by the FIFA World Cup. And not long ago, Inter Miami managed to sign this guy, all in tandem with Miami emerging as one of the fastest-growing cities in the country. Now, it has another claim to being America's boomtown. It figured out how to put on the most successful race in America's new favorite sport, the Formula 1 Miami Grand Prix. Nothing captures the ambition of Miami more, and the newcomer to F1 has quickly carved out its name within the sport.
I love the Miami vibe. We come here to race and it feels like we take over the whole city. Everyone gets Formula 1 fever.
The achievement is even more impressive when you consider the city's already packed sports calendar.
After the race this year, we've got to get everything taken down because we've got a Shakira concert, we've got a Post Malone concert, and then we've got Club World Cup. And then we go right into Dolphins season. Right. Then we have the national championship game. Then we have another tennis tournament, another race, and then we have the FIFA World Cup next summer. We're boom, 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 boom. It kind of never ends.
What does it take to pull it off? And how do you steer clear of a crash and burn? This is Power Players. Tell me about the moment where you realized this could be a racetrack.
I think it was a long time ago when I was driving on 199th Avenue just outside the stadium. It's about a 10-lane road. And I thought to myself, this is a racetrack, when I was probably driving a little too fast. And ironically, we don't use that road for the racetrack now, but I think that was the first time I said, I think we could put a racetrack here. And now we're standing on a racetrack in what used to be just a big parking lot.
Tom Garfinkel, CEO of the Miami Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium, and managing partner of the F1 Miami Grand Prix, has a knack for seeing what others can't quite yet imagine. He's been at the heart of Miami's recent explosion of massive sporting events and the resulting economic boom. With his background in motorsports, baseball, football, and events on a grand scale, he was uniquely positioned to be ambitious enough and perhaps crazy enough to help bring F1 back to relevance in America. So what was it about F1?
Well, F1 is the peak of global motorsport in every way, right? It's arguably the largest sport in the world. I went to work for Texaco in 1997, and my first open-wheel race was at Laguna Seca. My first night there, I was at an event with Mario and Michael Andretti. I was probably 28 years old, and I thought, this is going to be a fun job. And then went to Fontana shortly thereafter and watched those cars go 240 miles an hour at that time, and kind of fell in love from there.
Years later, Tom's boss and business partner, Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross, might not have been as eager to take the plunge into F1.
We went to Montreal, and it was the first time he had seen the scale of what a Formula 1 race is. I think it was the first one he had ever been to. And we were leaving in the car, and he looked at me and he said, whoa, baby, that's big. Are you sure you can do this? The Heat get 20,000 people in and out of here. It's a lot of traffic. How are we going to get 100,000 people in and out of here? I looked him right in the eye and said, absolutely, we can do this.
Yeah.
And didn't flinch. We need to do it at the stadium.
The next thing Tom did was get on the horn with Stefano Domenicali. He's the CEO of Formula 1 and a motorsport kingmaker. Tom told him about a bold ambition to prove Miami belonged at the table.
Hey!
How you
doing?
I'm all right. We can't complain.
What was the pitch back and forth with you and Tom Garfinkel?
The pitch is very, very simple. To be solid in our growth in one of the most important markets for us. And of course, when you're talking about entertainment, when you're talking about sport, Miami is in the top list. Also Latin culture, motorsport culture. So therefore, we do believe it's the right place to be.
And this was not an easy deal to get done, is my understanding, right? I mean, you guys, went through a lot of iterations.
If you want to have a marriage, both has to be happy. You cannot drain up one of the others because at the end of the day, they will not last. For me, it was essential to have a long-term vision.
That vision required some significant steering right out of the gates.
Originally, when we were talking to Formula 1, they wanted to do the race downtown Miami, and I felt like that wasn't a good idea for a number of reasons. It's hard to get a lot of people in and out of there. They said, yeah, but we really want the blimp shot of the yachts. It's really important to us for television.
Right.
They said, you'll have your yachts. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, you'll have your yachts. They took plywood, and this will be plywood with this artist created a water scene, and we blew it up and we painted it and throw a little water on it. It actually looks like water. So the first year we came out here, and the international motorsports media was kind of making fun of us.
Such a hot day today, I think I might take a jump into the cool water.
It's like, oh, they're trying to be Monaco.
But actually here, I could manage it.
It went viral, you know, on social media. And then they were asking me about it the next day and kind of criticizing. Like I said, well, listen, this was always meant to be fun. We don't take ourselves that seriously. We know we're not Monaco.
Right. Monaco or not, one thing's for certain. Miami's Hard Rock Stadium was not built for F1. As a result, the racetrack winds its way through and around existing infrastructure, like parking lots and roads.
I mean, this was a tennis court 8 days ago.
I can't even believe that.
Yeah, it's all gone. 24-hour shifts. Well, that's the pole position, and so I always like to start there because, you know, this is where the drivers start. And you know, you get the lights up here, the red lights go to green, and boom, they take off from here. And turn one, I mean, I sit here and I just think about the cars taking off and what it took to create all this. I kind of feel like sitting in my office yesterday, you know, you hear the beep, beep, beep of the backup of trucks. And I said to my assistant, Anita, I feel like that's the soundtrack of my career. For the last, you know, 10 years or so here outside my window, I just hear construction constantly. You know, a lot of this I drew on my whiteboard and spent hours with the map in front of me and kind of, here's where the Paddock Club building is going to go, and here's what it's going to look like, and then to be out here and actually see it is pretty rewarding.
At what point did you and Steve Ross look at each other and be like, oh, this was a good decision?
Yeah, I'd say it was probably year two. You know, year one was such a challenge. You're talking about a site that's, you know, 250 acres or so, and we're using every inch of it during the Grand Prix. 65 independent kitchens, over 1,000 tents and structures. And there's this giant stadium in a stadium we build for tennis. And it takes about 60 days to build that. And the only thing left is a couple sticks sticking up in the air in the tennis court. To get all that down in basically 8 days, because we have to get it all out, I call it the world's largest erector set. Because you have to take every piece down and place it, you know, in the right place so that next year you know where it is and you can rebuild it.
Were there moments before that first year where you were like, that this may have been too much?
January of 2021, we got on a couple of Zoom calls and hammered out a deal, and by April we had signed the deal. And you're like, okay, we have 11 months to get this done. I'm not sure we can do this. The challenges at that time were, one, the time frame. Mm-hmm. I had someone on my team tell me, like, I don't understand why we're doing this in 11 months. Why didn't we wait until 23? And I said, well, it was the sense of urgency to get it done for 22 that got the deal done. Like, without that, we're still negotiating the deal. There was all kinds of challenges in getting the racetrack built in such a short amount of time, but we pulled it off.
One of the interesting things about this hospitality aspect to me is the actual F1 race is 90 minutes on Sunday, in your case. And yet, the whole event really starts literally days before.
Well, 90 minutes is a long time when you juxtapose it to the 3 minutes of the Kentucky Derby or whatever that is. So
fair point.
It's the pageantry of the whole event. I think, you know, being here in Miami, the experience that we try to create around the racetrack, you know, in terms of, again, the food, the beverage, the people, the fun.
And so the nuts and bolts, as it were, from the business side is, as a promoter, describe your relationship with F1. You're kind of in a league, but not really. Like, how does that work?
You know, our part in that is we recognize, again, our responsibility to help grow the sport in the United States. There was a deal that was negotiated back in 21. You know, all the promoter agreements are a little different.
Promoters are a crucial part of the Formula One food chain. In broad strokes, it works like this. A promoter, which could be a private company, a government, or even Formula One itself, negotiates the right to host a Grand Prix with Formula One in exchange for a fee. That fee represents a huge revenue stream for F1, 40% of its total income in 2021. What Miami agreed to pay isn't public, but countries like Qatar paid $55 million per year to host F1, while Mexico paid $25 million. The promoters then take on the cost of building the infrastructure needed to host the race, which costs millions of dollars more. In return, they keep all the revenue from ticket sales and hospitality. Lastly, the promoters can bring in their own sponsors, like Crypto.com paying an estimated $180 million to get naming rights to the Miami Grand Prix. In total, Miami has 30 sponsors who are on screens, bridges, banners, and alongside the track. And yet, even with all of these pieces in place, Miami F1 is still not yet profitable, and that may take some time. Before this past year's race, Miami announced that their deal will be extended for the next 10 years. You extended 2041. It's one of the longest extensions you've ever had. What did you see that's different that gave you that level of confidence to go that far into the future?
For us, Miami is one of the pillars of our strategy in US. And on the other side, being long-term visionary, we can allow also Miami to invest on us. We are living in, I would say, a golden moment for our sport. We demand the things to grow the business together. So having the vision, such a long term, will enable both of us to exploit the maximum out of our strategy. That's the reason why we are up to 41.
Miami has definitely become a race where big money shows up. What are you seeing in your sport in terms of big money coming in, either to buy teams, to invest in races? How has the role of sort of institutional capital continued to shape the sport?
Is massive. We receive, not only us, but also the teams, a lot of requests of being part of our ecosystem to invest real money. And we see that also because we have big partners that are investing on us. Our world is very attractive. We always think that our sport can develop even bigger because we have the foundation for this to happen.
In our case, we did invest a lot of money in CapEx into putting this event on. And so that time frame is the longer time frame is very important to making it profitable.
Where are you in that plan in terms of making it profitable?
We're getting closer. I think we're getting to where another couple years we'll have some of that CapEx paid off and have some profit after that starting up here hopefully soon.
How does it compare? NFL again, juggernaut, but in terms of revenue?
An F1 race is complicated for all the reasons I just described, but certainly the NFL is the cultural phenomenon of the United States in every way. I mean,
Sure.
I think more people watch NFL games than vote.
NFL games average 17.1 million viewers per game. And while F1's global viewership is strong, in the US, it averages 1.1 million per race. Tom and his peers are playing the long game in expectation of those numbers to grow. And in Miami especially, they're leaning into the festival nature of the sport. Just like with the Super Bowl or college football national championship game, the days leading up to the actual event swallow up the city, with fan events popping up across the region, including premieres of Formula One content that stands to further fan the flames of the sport's growing popularity.
The Porsche Cup Series, you have qualifying, we have this sprint race on Saturday.
Right.
So there's a lot of activities going on track throughout the weekend, not just on Sunday. We have this new series with Susie Wolf, that's an amazing series, the F1 Academy, who has young female drivers out here driving that are incredibly talented and up and coming.
Certainly Netflix has been, the Drive to Survive has been a big part of that storytelling. But coming to an actual event and experiencing it, I think is when people really fall in love with the sport.
Well, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. This is so exciting.
This is a big night for F1 Academy. We're here at the Fillmore on Miami South Beach, and it is the premiere of our documentary series with Hello Sunshine. It's a magnificent venue. The race is normally really exciting because it's like a street circuit. There's just so much excitement in the air.
The Formula One business is just very different. It's something where, having been in motorsport a long time, I say I've never watched a race on television with someone and been able to turn them into a fan. Mm-hmm. And I think until people come to the event and see that, then they fall in love with the sport, then they want to watch it on television. So I think that's why, from a business model standpoint for Formula One, it's so important to take casual fans, bring them to great events, and then they can fall in love with the sport and watch it on TV, and the media revenue grows.
The promoters also need the glitz and glamour of the Hollywood and Netflix effects to attract high-spending fans, who make up a huge chunk of the hospitality revenue.
It's the traditional luxury experience at an F1 event. Now, we've created over 30 different products and experiences. I think there's 3 homogenous products at a race. And so we wanted to create different luxury experiences and all kinds of different, up and down the spectrum and price points. So you can sit in a grassy knoll, you can sit in a grandstand, or you can sit in the Paddock Club. The Paddock Club is the historical, traditional kind of place to view the race. You're over the garages, you're over pit lane, you're at start finish. And so we wanted to duplicate that and do it in an elevated way where we didn't have white styrofoam ceilings and white tablecloth fake tables. That's now close to 6,000 tickets, and that probably produce, call it 25% of the revenue, ticket revenue.
We're trying to create a lot of different unique experiences that are fun.
We have tickets that are, single day tickets that are $60. We have a campus pass where you can come in and you're not just sitting in one place. You can go to the top of the stadium and walk around and see multiple places of the racetrack, and that's a very affordable experience. And then we have very high-end exclusive experiences. We have a Casa Tua here. We have a thing I call the Palm Club, which is kind of an invite-only, about 220 people in there, and the names of which you'd recognize, both celebrities and people, et cetera. And so the spectrum, from $60 to $15,000 a ticket, I want to see kids who grew up in Miami Gardens who'd never heard of Formula One racing 10, 15 years from now working in Formula One racing. And so we want to make it accessible to everybody. We want to make it affordable for everybody. But we do have a very high-end luxury experience that is, we call it a 6-star experience. It's a cool thing to be out here.
And what's amazing too is, so this is permanent, this is temporary.
That all comes down and we park cars there for football games. This is a permanent paddock club building, so we actually use those garages to have VIP tailgates during Dolphin games. So you can go in there, you have 4 places to park your car inside Lewis Hamilton's garage.
Yeah.
There's a bartender, couches with a TV, and then on the other side of it, outside, there's a grill for your own use. We put a butcher shop in there where you can buy your own marinated meats, and it's the best tailgate experience anywhere.
You're kind of building the plane while you're flying it, and we were doing that. The Paddock Club, the first year, didn't go terribly well. The Paddock Club experience didn't quite live up to its billing. I think in year one, when you're building a permanent foundation of the garages with a temporary structure on top of it, and you've got to take all that temporary down and then build a permanent on top of it, that was quite a challenge. I kind of preached to our team, we like to do hard things around here.
F1 is a different beast because it's not just a sporting event. Some people call F1 the largest team engineering competition in the world, a quote, space program for the road. One of the hardest things is learning and implementing the sheer scale of the technology needed to pull off this gargantuan event. Mission control, race control.
Race control, yeah. So this is really the epicenter of what we do on race weekend.
This is John Murphy, Managing Director of South Florida Motorsports, who oversees the tech of the Miami Grand Prix for arguably the most high-tech sport on the planet. Each F1 team brings in around 40 of its own engineers per car, who all need to monitor live data from hundreds of sensors on the cars and on the track. That results in nearly 2 terabytes of data per team per race that needs to be transmitted back to each of their HQs in real time. And that's not even including the media part of it that's trained on 40 different cameras glued to every inch of the track and broadcasting to screens all around the world.
This is the nerve center in here. Really, anything in terms of managing the racetrack, managing the cars, the team interaction, from a rules and regulations perspective, all of that really happens from this room.
So this will be buzzing.
This will be buzzing. It's quiet at the moment, but obviously, when it comes to race weekend, we'll have up to 25 people in here.
Okay.
Everyone has a very distinct role in here, very, very well-defined role.
I'm sort of taken by I've never seen this much detail of something that I've walked around a lot. I mean, it's incredible how it all fits together.
For a venue that's actually a really big physical space, it's amazing how little space we have to do things. We have a stadium there, so we have to think a little bit laterally, and what the team have put together is really, really cool and very unique and very Miami. There'll be 40 cameras up around the circuit, and the whole idea here is that every single square inch of the circuit and the surrounding area is captured for people managing the racetrack to see what's happening around the entire circuit.
Formula One has been referred to, maybe, appropriately, as sort of both a massive engineering project and also a traveling circus.
Yeah, for us, it's a massive undertaking. And really, the amount of technology that Formula One and the FIA is reliant upon, nothing can go wrong. And we know that things do go wrong. And so when they do, it's having multiple levels of redundancies. It's another beast. It really is. And this venue is particularly unique. We've completely built it from scratch. Everything's gone away, literally off-site. So, for us, it's been really that build up to an event, execute the event, pack it up, everything goes away.
While John is overseeing this incredibly intricate tech that's quietly running everything on and off the track, what Tom and his organizers are currently focused on is staying ahead of the curve. What is it specifically about Miami? What does it bring that is distinct, and what do you take from it that you apply across other Grand Prix, especially, the one you own in Vegas?
Well, Vegas has a different approach. We had one race since many years in Austin, and we had a sort of ups and downs, coming in, coming out in US, having races basically almost everywhere, but without having any kind of real strategy there. As always said, that we need to think big, and this is not enough. You may hear from the ecosystem of Formula 1, oh, maybe 24 races are too many. I don't agree, because, our competition is not only in the sport field, where, I don't know, in US, NBA have more than 80 games. Baseball, we don't even count even more than 150, 160. NFL has a season that is short, but it's very, very long. But we are not competing only with them. We are competing with movies, with theater, with the events, with attraction. That means that we need to make sure that all the elements of our attractivity are pushed in the right way.
When you think about, this F1 boom that is clearly happening in America, 3 races on the calendar now, your race, the race in Austin, and the race in Vegas. Do you feel a sense of competition with those races?
I think it's the classic tale of sort of, all ships rise with a rising tide, especially here in the United States. I think the more fans we create, the better it is for all of us. And look, those are 3 distinct places. I think, Las Vegas is Las Vegas, and Austin, Texas is Austin, Texas. Miami is Miami. If this can be a differentiated experience, we think there's room for everybody. One of the things I think that bodes well for the future of Formula 1 in the United States is that I do get a strong sense that from the attendance at the race, from that young people love the sport and in the United States. This market is a booming market right now in a however you want to define it, a somewhat difficult economy, and globally a difficult economy. And so we have to adapt to how the market has changed, recognize that, and create products and services and opportunities that are serving our market as our market has changed.
What are you thinking about and worried about now that you weren't thinking about or worried about year 1?
We'll continue to refine, not redefine, but I think you may see us sort of pull back and say, okay, it's been 5 years now. How do we get creative? How do we create some things that no one's seen before? What are some things we can do to try to elevate it to the next level now? What are some things that we can invest in that are going to make this even better? And so that's sort of, I think, the next big challenge here.
In a few weeks, this will be, filled with fans, filled with cars, and then a couple days later, it's gone. I mean, how do you get your head around that, like, on to the next?
It's all got to come down really quickly, because we've got Shakira and then Post Malone and then the Club World Cup, and we've got to park cars for those events.
I love the idea that it's like, all right, everybody, let's move it along. Shakira's coming.
Yeah. Shakira will be mad if it's not ready.
Right, exactly.
We don't want Shakira mad.
We do not want to make Shakira mad.